Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Cellar Talks. And today in episode 2 of season 3, we're gonna talk with two sisters, well actually one of two sisters that are running an Italian winery in the Puglia region. So we will be asking her to join in a couple of minutes. And in the meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or put your questions in the question mark box. Normally it's on the bottom of your screen, so we can answer your questions during or after the show. So I see that Jorche Winery is watching already, so let's see if we can get them in the show. In the meanwhile, if you're drinking a glass of wine, maybe you're drinking the wine we're gonna taste today, feel free to let us know in the chat and tell us what you're drinking today. So let's wait to see if we can get a connection started with the Jorche Winery. We see some people. There you are already.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi everybody. Good evening.
I have to say, you have the best scenery of all my guests until now.
Do you like?
Yes, I like.
I thought it was nice to be in our barrique cellar. Very nice location.
It's an original idea, and I think it's a very nice cellar. So let's talk also about the cellar in a couple of minutes, because I want to hear the whole story. But it's interesting to see how you made such a nice wine cellar. But let's start with the beginning. And first, let's do an introduction about yourself, and then we will talk about the winery and the region, of course. But give us a couple of minutes to tell you about the story about you and your sister, who's not on the screen, but she's a big part also of the winery.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Dalila, and together with my sister Emanuela, we are the two owners of Jorche. It's a winery located in Puglia, so we are in the southern part of Italy, and more precisely in Salento, so the lower part of the hill. You know, Puglia is a very long region, so we are on the Ionio side, on the Ionio Sea, very close.
How long is it approximately? To give an idea.
Puglia is 420 kilometers long. Is the same long as the north of Italy is wide. So it's a very long region.
Long stretch region.
Yeah, and we have the longest coast in all over Italy. And in particularly, we are in the southern part of Puglia, so where there is the Gulf of Taranto on the Ionio Sea. So looking to Italy and Puglia, we are on the left side. Why do I tell this? Because since it's so long, Puglia is very different respect to where you go. So every zone has its own characteristics. And we run the winery since 11 years. We are the 5th generation in our family of wine producers. So the first one was our grandfather in the 20s. And after studying far from home, in particularly in the north of Italy, me in Milan and my sister in Trento, I studied general management and marketing, while my sister is the enologue of Jorche, and she studied enology and viticulture in Trento. So after our studies, we came back home, and this is a trend, a very beautiful trend, and that is happening in the south of Italy, in which very many young people, after going far, are coming back home. So yeah, in general.
So you had different experiences. You left the region and to very different parts of Italy, and then you came back.
Exactly. So we were quite young because when you are like 18 years old, going far from home, we live in a very small village that is called Torricella of 3,800 people. So going away when you are 18 years old and arrive in Milan.
It's a big change.
Knowing nobody is a very big change. But
a lot of adventure.
Yeah, personally, I'm very happy because even if it was a little bit difficult in the first beginning, but there was a very great personal experience that made me grow very much. Obviously, we had the chance to see another world, other way of thinking, other kind of mentalities, way of being. So it was a richness for us. And I think that the nice thing is that you will go far from home, you understand the beautiful thing that you have at home, that
Yeah.
if you see every
You
day,
appreciate it.
you can realize, and instead when you go far, you miss them. And the other thing is that you see what there is different in other parts, so you understand what there is to improve in your land. So
Yeah, because otherwise you try to keep to the same ideas, which is also good.
exactly, you don't
But
realize if you
yeah,
stay always in the same place. The bad and the good things are normal, so
yeah.
you don't appreciate the good things and you don't understand what there is wrong to change.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we came back to Puglia. We
When
were
was that again? Which year did you come back into the winery?
we start producing in 2010.
That's your
The
first vintage together?
2010, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were, I do some calculation. I was 25 and
Yeah.
my sister was 22.
Don't tell. People will
Yes,
guess, and they will guess a different age, but it's okay.
no
Now they know.
problem.
Okay, so
So yeah,
more than 10 years now you've been working together in the winery.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so since my family, okay, they always produce wine, but didn't bottle. We were the
Yeah.
first one to decide to bottle our products and to start sell. And we did the choice to go immediately abroad for different reasons. So nowadays we are around a production of 130,000 bottles per year.
Okay.
So we arrived from zero to this point in
Yeah,
11
because there was no
years.
bottles, so you start with
Yeah,
zero.
no, we were
Huh?
with no bottles.
Only
We,
liters, only liters.
yeah, many liters. We built a new winery where I am
Hmm.
now because obviously the bottling process is a totally different one, and also we
Yeah.
have different dynamics and you need another kind of process. And our winery is surrounded by our vineyards,
Yeah.
and yeah, we start
So you
selling.
had to, you also had to change a lot in the whole buildings, in the infrastructure, everything, because yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
we
you
moved
have the
from,
vineyards, but the rest
yeah,
is new.
exactly. We moved from my father winery that was okay, proper for that kind of selling, you know, without
Yeah.
bottling. And we, thanks to uh, some helps, European helps, financial
Yeah.
helps for young managers.
Yeah.
We reached to build the new winery with so it's a modern structure with high technology levels and surrounded by our vineyards. And today,
I've seen pictures, and normally I try to show pictures, but Instagram changes all the time. So now the feature is gone. I cannot do it. But I see if people
okay.
go to the website, they see how beautiful architecturally also the buildings are. It's not general
Thank
average
you. No,
buildings.
our idea was to have a very embracing
Hmm.
entrance,
Yeah,
so that welcomes the guests, and
yeah.
also very many glasses, no, in which you cannot see through while you are visiting the winery. So this is our idea. And today we sell in 25 countries in the world. We are around
25. So you started with
25.
zero countries, zero bottles.
Yeah.
Now you
Yeah.
have
25.
130,000 bottles and
Sorry?
130,000 bottles, you said,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
25 countries
25 countries.
in 10
85
years.
in 10 years. 11, yeah,
Wow.
10 years.
What are you going to do in another 10
85%.
years?
Sorry?
What are you going to do in another 10 years? Double
Who
again, or?
knows? World
It's
is
impressive.
wide. So,
It's impressive.
yeah,
Yeah.
85% of the production goes abroad because, Italian consumption is almost full.
Yeah.
Italian people, and this is a good thing, are drinking less and less wine, but buying higher quality products. So this is a good
Okay.
trend. But obviously, since we are so many producers, we are the first producer in the world of
Abundancy of
wine. Yeah.
internal markets.
So the space was very, and today is even less. So our idea was that abroad there was more space.
Yeah.
Also, the southern part of Italy was less known. We are in the heart of Primitivo di Manduria area, so we are in the
Yeah.
DOC of Primitivo, and this is our first grapes in the production.
Yeah.
So there was also a very good potential, and we
Yeah,
saw in the last 10 days,
you compete
10
with
years.
very different ones in the market. It's not like if you go you're a Barolo producer or a Tuscany producer. There's already a lot of export for this for longer periods of time.
Yes.
Yeah, 10
What?
years ago it was different probably for Primitivo and
Yeah, the southern of Italy, and in particularly Puglia, I think is the head of this trend in the southern part. In 10 years, changed a lot. Also regarding the knowledge of consumers, worldwide consumers, respect to the southern indigenous grapes.
Mhm.
Primitivo, I think, is very well known nowadays.
Yeah,
Even if we have also other indigenous grapes. And in general, we chose another thing, only to produce indigenous and
yeah,
autochthonous varieties, because our idea was that in the world, there are so many countries, not that produce
yeah.
wines, but Italy has this richness that every single zone can produce in the best way their indigenous grapes that no
Yeah.
other in the world can do.
This is a
So
natural fit, huh?
yes,
It's a
Italy
natural
is a
fit. Yeah.
so yeah, it's a so rich country with so
So yeah,
many
that's the
microclimates.
question is, okay, you have 25 countries. Is I know it's not only in Europe. So can you tell us a little bit which countries?
Okay, so Europe is almost all covered. Our principal market, the first market, is Germany, for
Yeah.
example. We sell very good in the northern part of Puglia, but also in an expected way, we sell also
Hmm.
in France and Spain. We didn't realize, expect. Then we sell in the USA. Moreover, in the Midwest part, so also that a very new market,
Yeah.
not the principal.
Chicago and downwards.
Missouri, Tennessee,
Yeah, yeah,
Illinois,
yeah.
so that part, and then some things in Canada through tenders, because there is the monopolio, a
Yeah.
little bit in Brazil, and then for Asia, we sell in Japan, China, Taiwan, Malaysia, Vietnam, a little bit in Australia. So yeah.
It's nice because the person who asked the question, I know her, she is Brazilian. So now you tell that you can buy the wine in Brazil, maybe a little bit, then she can tell her people that she knows that live there. Tennessee, Missouri, I understand. Maybe I'm saying something strange here now because we were talking about food pairing with your wines
Hmm.
earlier with somebody. And
Okay.
I was thinking the sweetness, but also the alcohol level and everything that goes with the grape. So not only Primitivo, but also the wine we're going to taste today is different, I
Yeah,
know, but it works with the barbecue style, maybe in Tennessee and Missouri, with the food.
well,
Am I saying something strange here?
yeah, we have, first of all, I think to say, I think regarding pairing with wines,
Yeah,
that nothing is wrong and everything is subjective. So this is the point.
yeah,
We know that different countries have different kind of habits. So maybe by an Italian person, I wouldn't so much agree, but maybe
for them
in
it's
US,
different.
yeah, also tastes, habits are different. And I have to say you, I think, because I traveled a lot, not
Yeah,
now,
you have
but
to
in
go
the
to these
past.
25 countries as well.
Yeah, I was the one of the two sisters that traveled and also visited our guests and our clients. Okay, and I have to say you, I think that in many of my trips, I find out very interesting pairings that
Combinations.
I couldn't imagine with our wines. So sometimes you can learn some new things.
You're surprised, maybe, yeah. But you're right. If it works for you and for your culture, and it's a natural thing, it's nice
Yeah,
to be open-minded and try to learn what people are
exactly.
doing with your product. Because,
Yeah,
yeah,
the first time you can be surprised, but
yeah,
sometimes trying, you realize that it
yeah.
works.
Yeah. Why
So
not, huh?
yeah,
So the
yeah.
next time at home, maybe you try another time the same thing, huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
I hope very soon because I miss so much
the
traveling.
traveling.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that. I get that. Let's talk a little bit more about the region before we go
Hmm.
into the winery and the grapes and which wines you're
Okay,
making, because that will be my
okay.
next question. But about the region, you already talked a bit about Puglia, that is quite diverse and big. So
Yeah.
if we zoom in a little bit to Salento and your region, what is typical in terms of the soil and also the climate, so the terroir, basically?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are first of all in a land very much dry. So we have so
Hmm.
much sun, few rains, so few humidity, and this is a very excellent weather conditions for grapes. You know, in general, the vineyards and principally our kind of indigenous grapes need a climate that is dry. So this
Yeah.
is very good for us. Then we are in a very windy zone. We are in the middle of two seas. So imagine Adriatico from side and
Yeah.
Ionian on the other. So our land is always windy, even if it's so hot during the summer, but it's never humid. So it's hotness, we can say, that is very nice. Also, you can stay very well because of the wind. We have nice excursions between day and the night, and the
So it's
soil
good
also.
because the growing it cools down. So
Yeah,
they
in the
take the heat
night.
in the day.
Yeah, for example, from June, so now we are starting the vegetation periods. Vineyards are starting to jam, and we are now around 18, 20 degrees. Now I know that in the north of Europe it's snowing now. We are in 20 degrees
We are
now.
all jealous now.
Yeah,
For you, it's
and
cold maybe still.
yeah. So from now onwards, temperatures obviously we go higher and higher. In the
Yeah.
summer, we arrive at around also 40, 45 degrees in the day. Instead, in the night, we go down around 25, 27.
Hmm.
So, you know, there is a nice
20
excursion.
degrees difference, the drop is good.
Sometimes yes, sometimes
Yeah.
yes. Obviously, if you think of midday and the night,
Yeah.
okay, obvious, okay. And another particular thing is the soil. We are in a land that is a red soil. It's a great characteristic of Salento and in particularly of Manduria area. So it's a land rich in iron. And then we have sedimentation of sandstones. So,
Yeah.
you know, Salento was created in the millenniums far away
Yeah.
through the sedimentation of sandstones. So we have a soil that the deeper you go, the how to say, the more stoned is the sand.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, the origin is sand, but the deeper you go, the stronger is the
Yeah.
stone.
The
Okay,
harder the
and
soil gets.
yeah, and the upper part is instead this red soil rich in iron. That gives minerality to the wines, while the closeness to the sea, because we are like 5 kilometers from the sea, and
Yeah.
we have also some vineyards that are like 600 meters from the sea. So you have also the very nice influence from the breeze of the
Hmm.
sea that gives sapidity to the wines, that gives, you know, this nice influence. In particularly, Manduria area in Salento is the best microclimate for Primitivo. This is why it's I think, the most famous zone
Yeah.
for the production of these grapes, because Primitivo needs to produce very less so to get concentrated and give the best result. And this zone is perfect for this.
Yeah.
While for people who are curious, maybe, while the northern part of Puglia, from from the Murgia, from 1 hour far from by car from here, northern, till the upper part, the Gargano part, they are they're little higher, because different from us, that we are in a totally flat zone. They start to have higher, and so it's colder, it's more humid, the soil is different. So Puglia is very different also in
You have a lot of differences in the terroir as well.
Yeah, environments, landscapes. Yeah, very
But in
nice to do by car.
do you also have what are the challenges in the growing seasons that you have in the vintages? I mean, now you're making a picture that it's always every year good and nice,
Yeah,
but you
I'm
should
very
have
glad
problems
that
as
you
well.
make me this question,
Yeah.
because it's a very important point. Another luck that we have in the south of Italy is that we don't have the problem of vintages. Almost every year, the weather is nice, so the vintage is
Stable.
good. It's very constant.
Yeah.
It's very constant because every year is sunny. Every year there are a few rains. Obviously, you can have little differences.
Yeah.
No, it's nature. But we are quite advantaged. We have a great advantage that we can maintain a constance between the vintages in an easier way. So we don't have, like, for example, most new territories like, I don't know, Piedmont or, sorry, Veneto, no? Or Tuscany, they have usually bad vintages, good vintages, excellent vintages. In the south, we are always good. Obviously, you have to be good also in the winery, obviously, because the wine is
It's not just the growing; it's
two
also the making of
phases,
the wine.
exactly, vineyards and winery. But we start from always high quality grapes. So this is a good thing.
Does it? So this is about the quality and about the volume. So the yields, it's the
Well, the
same a
volumes
year, or
in the volumes the things are different, because depending on the level of dryness,
yeah,
there are some vintages in which Primitivo, especially, but also the other grapes, since
produces
there
less
is.
grapes.
Exactly, since there
Yeah,
is even less rain than usual, the plant goes in a protection, so
yeah.
just by itself start producing less to concentrate in those few grapes,
But your
and
quality
so.
will stay the same, more or
But the
less.
quality in those vintage is
Yeah,
super. Obviously, you pick up less.
yeah.
This sometimes happens, but yeah.
But not huge for so not double digits difference in
Not
yields.
in a catastrophic way,
No,
in
no,
the
no.
sense
Okay, no.
I can make an example. Last year, for example, it was a quite dry vintage, and in all the Primitivo di Manduria area, the average picking was in average like around less 20-30%
Yeah,
last vintage, yeah, than usual.
and that's
So it's
extreme difference maybe for you.
sorry.
And this would be an extreme difference maybe for you.
Yeah,
The 20%,
in a
30%.
in some way, yeah. Some points, yes. Obviously, you produce less, so you can
Yeah,
because you have to do expectations, not for the
yeah.
future vintages. Because obviously nowadays we are selling like 3-4 years ago vintages. Obviously, when we will arrive to the vintage, the 2010,
Also,
we
with the
already know that
Reserva,
we will
for
produce.
instance, also it's
Yeah, we already
different, huh?
know that we will produce less.
Yeah,
Obviously, we will decide because we produce different wines, so we
yeah,
will decide how to repart, no,
yeah.
the less quantity. Yeah.
Okay, which is a nice bridge for you to make. So before I do this, then still for new people that joined, I will just tell them if you have questions, you just put them in the chat, so we pick them up.
Okay.
And we are going to spend 5 more minutes, approximately, more about you telling us which wines you make, and then we're going to pick one that we already decided before, and
Okay.
we're going to do this tasting. So for people that are
Okay.
waiting with the bottle and they want to open it now, I hope they already
Yes.
opened it, but they don't
Okay,
dare to try the
I will be
glass.
sure.
Yeah, because this no, 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 no. I don't want to push you, but I know some people are hungry and waiting. Well, no, we're going to do the tasting, so we're going to do it
Because
in a
now for
couple of
you
minutes.
is dinner time, or you
For me, I
already
already
went.
had dinner, but I know somebody
Okay.
is waiting for to drink your wine with your food, so it's
Another
okay.
difference is that in the southern of Italy we have like Spanish habits, so
Yeah,
our dinner time is around 9 p.m. So I'm
and
totally
then in the
okay.
afternoon you eat hot dinner probably.
Sorry?
For lunch you eat hot meal probably as well, or not?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
no,
and with
lunch
us
for
is
us
bread
is
or something.
no, no, no. We have breakfast in the morning.
Yeah,
We have lunch. There is yeah.
very good. So
Yes.
tell us a
Anyway,
little bit
so
about which
yeah,
wines do you
in
make, because
general,
we have two
in gen
grapes, but there's more.
yeah, exactly. As I told you before, we in general produce only indigenous grapes. So for the red one, we produce Primitivo and Negroamaro.
Hmm.
Primitivo because we are in the DOC of Manduria, Negroamaro because also is the second most famous and produced red wine in Puglia. While for the whites, we
Yeah.
produce Fiano Minutolo. There is the Fiano from Puglia, so
Hmm.
different from the more famous Fiano d'Avellino from Campania. In
Yeah.
Puglia, we have Fiano Minutolo and the Bianco d'Alessano. That is an almost unknown grapes, but very, very nice and with great characteristics.
So
Obviously, yes,
four
four
grapes.
grapes, yeah, four grapes and nine references. Among these nine references, the majority is for Primitivo. Just to let you have an idea, we produce our 90% of our production is Primitivo,
Yeah.
because we are in the DC, but we also had in heritage the vineyards from our
Yeah.
grandparents. So our oldest vineyards
Your
are
best
from
finds are
yeah,
basically
yeah,
this.
we arrived to have 40, 50 years old vineyards for the
Hmm.
Primitivo di Manduria and Primitivo di Manduria Riserva. And also we have an hectare of 80 years old Albarello
80 years old.
Primitivo, 80, yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest, okay, as I told you, we produce a Negromaro, Fiano Minutolo and Bianco d'Alessano. Respect to this night, we chose to make people taste not Primitivo because but Negramaro because we thought that maybe it was a newer
People
thing.
are watching. Why don't you do the Primitivo if you have this? There's a good reason for it, people.
Well, you can
We
find
have a good
in
reason.
Netherlands, so you
Yeah,
can
no
taste
problem.
also
You
the
can buy it.
others. Just to yeah, give some more information maybe regarding the grapes that is less known surely than
Yeah.
Primitivo, and also I think very interesting because Negramaro is yes, an indigenous grapes,
Hmm.
but it's totally opposite respect to Primitivo. I will say that they are like two brothers, but
Yeah.
like me and my sister,
You're also not the
totally,
same.
totally opposite.
We will talk about that as well. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question for you.
Uh, and this is a very nice, because the weather is the same, the soil is the same, and the result is totally different.
Yeah.
Primitivo, it's a very smooth, round, and fruity variety. Also you can obtain high concentrations in sugar and so in alcohol levels. It's a grape that is very powerful, we can
Yeah.
say, even if you can also produce a lighter and more approachable Primitivo. But it's round. The tannins not surround you, and your
People are
mouth
sometimes
is
really
more.
surprised when they look on the back of the label and they see the alcohol percentage.
Yeah, because obviously, since the grapes have this characteristic to lose water on the plant, so we do the appassimento naturally on the plant. This is a unique thing for Primitivo. When you pick up the grapes, they are concentrated in sugars. So when you transform, it's normal to arrive to high alcohol levels.
Yeah.
But the structures of the grapes and so the wine can support totally perfectly the alcohol level, so you don't realize while you are drinking, and this
Yeah.
is a very
But
great
after a
thing.
bottle, you know,
Yeah, but
maybe.
life is good, and
Yeah, yeah. No
you
problem. No
you
problem.
have to enjoy.
Yeah. No, but another reason why we picked this one is I think you're making a good explanation. But I was lucky enough to try your Primitivo Reserva, and it's really good. So I'm
Thank you.
not surprised because I wrote it already. It's a preview on the review on the page, so people can go to the page and read it. And I was
Mhm.
very how do you call it, positive about it. So I never lie. If I don't like it, I will tell it as well. But I
Okay.
know this is a very important wine of you, but I didn't want to do also the same one. So people can read all about that one as well. And
Yeah.
they can buy both. I mean, both are available goods. It's not
Yeah, in
just,
the Netherlands, yes, we
yeah,
have several importers.
yeah,
And respect to, so we go and speak about Negromaro,
yeah.
no?
Now we
Okay,
talk about this one.
yeah,
Great.
I've here my
Yeah.
bottle.
I will
So
show it to
our
the audience and you can talk.
Okay, great. So our Negramaro is called Kaleido. Kaleido was a name that we chose to represent the idea of the kaleidoscope, you know.
Yeah.
So to represent the fact that these grapes and this wine in particularly has the great thing to have many phases, to evolve very much in the glass. Negramaro it's a grape that when it's young it's very, we can say, rough with green tannins. So sometimes also difficult to manage. But when you make it rest, and we realized this in the several years that passed, the tannins get smoother, even if are colder, respect the ones of Primitivo. But Negramaro managed to get very great levels of complexions.
Hmm.
So it's a wine that is very particular in the nose and in the mouth because you find notes that are quite unusual, new. And also for people who want to try something different, you know, it's a very, I will recommend. In general, another characteristic of our Kaleido is that it's a 100% Negramaro. There is another thing very unusual to find. It was a quite courageous choice because Negramaro, as I told you, is very difficult to manage. When it's young and very rough, it needs so long time of aging, and in general, you several times find it blended with other fruity varieties like Malvasia or Primitivo itself to make it
So that they
easier to
can,
make.
so that they can use them younger because that helps to balance maybe better, or what's the reason why they do the blends?
Because it's like a little bit hot stick. It's a little bit difficult sometimes to approach and also to manage in the production process. And sometimes it risks to get closed so and also to be rough even if you don't manage it very well. So, and also the fact that onions are green sometimes to make it easier, to make it no, more approachable. Many producers used to blend it with the fruiter varieties. But when you find a purple Negramaro or a fruity Negramaro, you have to know that there is not total Negramaro. Negramaro is
Yeah,
not
there is
fruity at
a
all.
blend.
Yeah, it's a blend, but sometimes they don't tell you this anyway. It's not a
There's
fruity. It's a sorry.
now we sorry, go ahead. We will talk about the flavors, but
It's
there
not
is one
fruity.
question which is maybe something to also do now because it's
Yeah.
important. It does this is the wine that develops with aging in the bottle. So do you recommend in general people to keep it for aging, or is it
Okay.
stable
So
and?
in general, all the wines in this kind of weather can stay in the time if you obviously have a production that is good, because grapes when you pick up are very structured, so can stay in the time. Obviously, in this case, since we are speaking about 12 years old vineyards, so we are not speaking about very old
No, they're
ones.
young.
So yeah, they are quite young, because we planted Negramaro and we planted the two whites because our grandparents
Yeah,
produced
they
just
only had the
Primitivo, no?
Primitivo.
Okay, so this is why they are 12 years old. So since it's a young vineyards, we suggest to have a 5-6 years
100 years.
maximum to age
So
in
it's
the
not going to be
bottle.
better if you take it longer, keep it longer than 5-6 years.
Well, in general, we don't have a so long history on the back,
No,
so it's
I
just
understand.
an interpretation of us.
Yeah.
We are trying to make some experiments because in reality it can stay, but we think that since it's young vineyards, the best it will be
Yeah.
5-6 years, sorry.
So with your
So.
Primitivo and your Primitivo Reserva, maybe in particular, it's a different story, maybe, I
Then
guess.
there is longer in the time.
Yeah.
We tasted some days ago, 2010 vintage, and it was super.
Okay. So
Riserva che
they can
stay.
stock this and keep it, and it will even go change
There
and
are no
change.
more.
Okay. Oh, it's gone. Oh, bad
It's
luck.
gone. We just have some bottles for
Okay.
us
For privates, yeah.
kept there. Yeah, but
So,
also to understand, no?
yeah,
Yeah.
the notes of the aromas of the wine. So now I'm also allowed to taste because, of course, I
Okay,
tried
so the
before, but
notes in the nose are you immediately, I think, have these notes of balsamic at the same
mhm,
time, but also earthy, and
yeah,
you can find black fluid notes,
mhm,
also a little bit of spiciness, but
yeah,
that is given by the aging in the wood. But the more developed the notes are the balsamic on the side and also the earthy notes. It's a great characteristic of Negramaro. Since it has no fruit at all, it develops this earthy. Some people, but don't be afraid. Some people define Negramaro like a little bit animal. This is a
yeah,
characteristic. Obviously, you have to integrate these notes in the wine, and always the most important thing is balance. So it's not immediate. And I always suggest to open a little bit.
before.
Previously, yeah, before, just to have a little bit of oxygen. And if you have the patience of keeping it in the glass, it works very much. It's a very nice product. And at the same time, as I told you, in the mouth, you have these greener tannins, so it has a good acidity respect to a better acidity respect to Primitivo. Also in the pairing food, you can also pair with, we can say fatter meals. So
Yeah,
for example, wild meat like
because of the
it's
acidity, or
exactly because of the capacity of washing your mouth very well and
yeah,
restart. So for example, for me, for the Apulian kind of cuisine, maybe I can give some ideas.
yeah.
It's very, very good with the lamb, or in your cuisine, maybe you have duck, or in our land we
Well,
sometimes
Holland
have
does no
rabbit.
cuisine. We only steal food from other people. Italian
Yeah,
food
but you
and
can find,
no,
okay.
it's not true. It's not true. It's a joke. But I understand the acidity works well with like the fatter and the more full-bodied foods, and not the light dishes. It's not a match.
Yeah, and on the other side, even if sometimes people think that meat is for reds and fish is for white, in
Yeah.
reality is not like this.
No.
I also often suggest it to drink it with also fish cooked in a how to say, in a more complex way, like, I don't know, here in the south of Puglia, we have seafood, tomato soups with, I don't know, for
Yeah.
example, octopus or seafood. Maybe in Tuscany
Like,
they
but
call it
also
a calcio.
octopus and also the tomato that's in it is,
Exactly.
yeah, is very more structured.
Exactly. So it's fish, but it's structured. So obviously, it depends on the kind. This wine, it's red, but the thing that is so elegant and so, with the good acidity and freshness and green tannins, can support with no problems. Also these, and yeah, you. I
So it's
think
good
that.
that you have it's good that you have these two grapes, red wines, next to each other, because, like you said, there are similarities, but there is also quite differences, and you
Yeah,
can, for occasion, take one or the other.
obviously. And another difference is that we have a totally different periods of picking up
Okay.
between Primitivo and Negramaro. Primitivo, the name says itself, it means that comes before. We in Italy say prima, to say
Yeah.
before. So it indicates a very early variety. We have to pick up, above all for the old vineyards, we have to pick up at the end of August, so very early, maximum the first day of September, maximum, because otherwise the vineyards, the grapes continue to mature and mature and
Yeah.
mature. So our grandparents drank 20 degrees Primitivo, 20 degrees sweet Primitivo, so with
Yeah.
potential of 23. Absurd. So Primitivo can go and go and go. So we need to harvest at the end of August to preserve the acidities and the balance. While Negramaro arrives around 10 days, 2 weeks later. So we need to harvest around the 20th of September, around the third week of September. And this is why it depends the majority by the kind of skin. Also in the skin, Primitivo and Negramaro are opposite.
Yep.
Primitivo is a very thin skin, so this allows it to lose water very soon and to mature very fast. While Negramaro is a very thick skin,
So it holds the water.
yeah, and so the maturation is slower.
Yeah.
And the name also, if you want to know, Negramaro, it's the union of two words that means black. Nigrus, but from Greek, Nigrus from Latin and Marus from Greek. So the meaning is black and black. This is
Double black.
double black, so totally covered
So if
and
you have black, you think black, it's twice black, more black
twice
even.
black. Yeah, because in Italy we say amaro
Hmm.
means bitter. So some people think that Negramaro means black and bitter. In reality, no. It's black in two languages,
Okay.
Greek and Latin, because Puglia was this one was the Magna Greece, the heart of Magna Greece. So we have
So,
the
but why the reference to black?
sorry.
So why the reference to black? It's not bitter, but why do they reference the name to black, the grapes?
Because of this very thick and black skin,
Yeah. So the
no,
appearance of the grape.
yeah. When you see the bunch of Negramaro, you see this very intense and black and thick
Somebody's saying, I
skin.
thought it was black love, but that's because she's probably drinking it and she loves it. So that's the reason, I guess.
And so
No,
the
but
sun, the sun is very has to do more effort to let mature the grapes. So this is why we pick up
so it's good for
later.
you. You don't have to do all in once. You have some time
Yeah,
for
in some
the.
way, yeah. This is because for the whites we start at the middle of August.
Yeah.
So we start our harvest around the 16th, 17th of August. So in some days we pick up all the whites because we don't produce obviously so
Yeah.
much. Puglia is more known for a red wine zone, no? Then Primitivo, obviously, since another thing that I didn't say, we have 41 hectares in property of vineyards. So
Yeah.
we cover all the line. For us, it's very important to have all our vineyards in property, and we cover the line till the final bottling and aging.
So you have
So
total
Primitivo,
understanding about what's happening. You understand what grows the
yeah,
grapes, how
control
it yeah.
is, yeah, for us, control in every single steps is fundamental. We cultivate all our own vineyards.
Hmm.
Harvest is total manual in little boxes, not to stress the grapes,
Yeah.
so to pick up in the most delicate way. Also, the transformation process is with a high technology level, trying not to stress the grapes. Also, the pressure is very soft, the temperature is always controlled, the pumping ups are automatic, so to spread in a I would just say in a more delicate way.
Yeah.
And yeah, so every single step is internal. We have a laboratory very important. There is the my sister world. She's like the the little
I saw a
toy.
picture, I think, from her and being in the laboratories
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
coats and
she
everything.
likes very
So
much. Yeah, she
yeah.
likes very much. So also that is internal. And yeah, so I was saying, Primitivo harvest is the longest for us
Yeah.
because 90% of our production is that. And then, yeah, we have the time to starting already the fermentation process for Primitivo when we will pick up the Negramaro. Yeah, in some way,
So
this is a good
it's
thing.
convenient for you
Yeah,
in the whole
our
process. Okay.
harvest is quite like around 1 month in some days. Yeah,
Yeah.
from the beginning
Okay.
to
Cool.
the last point.
Okay. Um, Last week I had a guest in my show who is running a winery with his brother. So we
Okay.
were already laughing about it because I didn't really particularly put you guys next to each other one week after the other. By coincidence, it happened, to be honest. And I always ask a question to my guest for next week, so you will get to ask one for my guest next
Okay.
week. We talked about it, but you can think about that. But last week I got a question from Erich, and Erich is running a winery with his brother in Austria, in
Okay.
Südsteiermark. So it's a region that is famous for Sauvignon Blanc. So
Mm.
very different wine, obviously. But the question obviously was, being in a winery with his brother and running it with his
Mm.
brother, how do you, as two sisters, how do you work together in your winery? And do you also maybe have some conflicts, or do you have some different ways of yeah, being working together in the business?
Okay. Well, let me say first of all that we are very different in our characters, so in
Mm-hmm.
our way of being. Respect of the two, I'm the more communicative one. Sometimes also the not rusher, but more patient one. Okay, so sometimes I'm more okay immediate. My sister is quieter, but also more, I'll just say, rational, we can
Yeah.
say. So, okay. And this is, first of all, a nice thing with respect to the aspects that we manage.
Yeah.
I think that my kind of way of being is proper for what I do, and hers for what she does. In general, the fact that sometimes, or I can say not quite often, but the majority of times,
Don't
uh,
lie. Yeah.
we don't we don't agree. But this is, I think, a richness
Yeah.
because if we always look to think in the same way, I think there wouldn't be occasion and chance to improve and to have a different kind of idea of
Yeah.
interpretation of a thing. So, but I have to say, we are very, very linked. So we are always we manage to manage things in the right way without not having problems, or we have different ideas, but at the end we always agree,
And
telling
did
what each
that
other,
change?
speaking one
Because
each
now
other.
you've done 10 vintages together, 10 years. So
Yeah.
when you look back 10 years now, at the beginning, it was probably finding your way together and how you do this together. And now
Yeah,
it's
I
you
think
get more
that
team.
we are growing while our winery is growing in some
Yeah.
way. We are developing also as
Yeah, you're getting
persons.
more connected
We
to
are
each
getting
other
more
maybe.
linked. We more and more are learning to know one each other. Sometimes, obviously, it's normal. I think we don't agree, or some no.
Yeah, but like you said, I think it's a
But
good thing as well
yeah,
because you
but the
can,
next thing, I think that we are getting women together in some
yeah,
way, and this is,
very
I
good.
think, a great thing. We were girls when we started, so in 10 years, if I see backwards, we did so many things together, so it's a
Yeah, but
great
also
pride.
everybody when you get older, your personality change and maybe your view
Mm.
on things change is normal. Not even with even when you're not sisters working in a company, when you get
Yeah,
older,
obviously.
it's different than it was like when you were 10 years younger. It's normal. It's
And
not.
this is good. This is also, I think, the evolution of a company, a
Yeah,
winery, respects the persons that produce those wines, and also in the vintages. This thing, I think, it was evident. Yeah,
and
with some
and and
if
and, and keep each other in his strength. So like you did it perfectly. You find your own beautiful background. See, they like your cellar. You have to,
yeah.
yeah. For a minute, yes. So we see more beautiful cellar. Only for a minute. We also want to see you,
So
but
if you see, I don't know, we have
fresco at the back
here
or not?
our barriques, the
Yeah,
classic with the 225 liters. Here in the back there are barrels, bigger barrels of 10 and
yeah.
25 hectoliters, and this is a very particular thing of our zone. They are called capasuni.
Yeah.
These are the ancient kind of amphoras in which
Amphoras.
amphoras, yeah, from no, the Magna Greece culture. Here is very spread all over, and it was where our grandparents stored the wine. So we are studying this kind of
Amphora
aging.
project.
Yeah, yes, because it's totally different from wood. Obviously, the amphora doesn't give influence to the wine, but you have
Yeah,
a
it's
little
very clean
micro-oxygenate.
winemaking.
Yeah, and also the aging is slower in the time. At the same time, you have a little micro-oxygenation from the outside to the inside. But the thing is that you have to close them totally hermetically. You see in the top.
Yeah,
So, respect to the barricks in which you open the cork,
there
the
comes
plastic,
air to it.
and you can check. Capasuni, no.
No,
You
it's closed.
once it
After years,
close,
you open it and then you find out.
surprise.
Yeah,
So we are
it
studying
it,
with
it makes
them.
me think. I had a winery. I think a month ago or 2 months ago from Châteauneuf-du-Pape region.
Okay.
Also, very old family winery, and Florent Lacan, who's running it, he's started a project recreating an old family wine that they had long ago with a very
Okay.
also traditional winemaking where they put all the grapes into each other for
Yeah.
maceration. It's a blend, and then they just
Okay.
close it and they wait and they just see I don't know for how long. And
Yeah,
I tasted the wine in the show. It's
it was super.
like nothing else.
Yeah, obviously, with this kind of aging, you get we can say very how to say particular products,
Yeah.
no, out of the normal kind of standards. So it's also sometimes we are also trying to understand which kind of client, of customer, of market can be
Would
interested,
like be
because
interested in this.
yeah, it's a very like oxidative style,
Yeah.
you know.
Because it's
So
all the
yeah,
time closed.
sorry.
it's closed all the time. So oxidated
Yeah, but
because
we checked some amphoras in the
ah,
past. Some we some of them checked. Yeah, sometimes mm, sometimes we open one and we taste. It's a very oxidative style.
so not
It's
everybody
something
likes that.
not everybody can like it, but it's a very particular product, and we are studying, I promise.
Oh,
So we
it's
will see
interesting.
something
It's a new
in the
project.
future.
New
Yes,
project. Very
always
good.
new
I like
projects.
it.
Yeah,
So,
and
we answered the question about sisters working in the company.
mm,
Before we go into other questions that people might have, I asked you a question. Obviously, you need to ask a question for next week, and
okay.
we have a winery, a family winery from Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
Alento, and what I didn't tell you before, maybe you saw it because I showed it to you, but if you didn't, I will tell you. The nice thing is when it compared to you, obviously Portugal and Italy is different, very different,
Mm,
but there's similarities. And one of the
mm.
similarities I thought of later is that they work only with indigenous grapes, like
They
you,
too. Okay.
but
Yeah.
Portuguese indigenous grapes.
Great.
So maybe you thought about the question already, but if you didn't think about it, yeah.
Well,
What shall we ask next week to Carlos, who's
you know, we in this moment we are also thinking about some aspects of the ecologic no
mhm.
world. So we are how to say starting a green process
Yeah,
since some
biodynamic or
years.
organic.
Yeah, but also, the sun energy from the energy from the sun, and also to try to have lighter packages, so lighter
Yeah.
bottles, and yeah, several things. And we in general use only natural corks. Okay,
Hmm.
natural corks, and
I like where this is going.
Portugal is the heart for no cork production. So I
Even
we,
Alencio, where